Before 1992, all of microfinance in the world was done by nonprofits. 1992, Axiom created the world's first for-profit bank focused on the poor, Banco Sol in Bolivia. After 1992, the entire world has gravitated to that commercial model that we pioneered. Banco Sol, all of a sudden, back then this was controversial. Today, sitting here at the Columbia Business School, it's obvious. All of a sudden, Banco Sol could access the debt markets, could access the equity markets, could hire talent in a different way. Banco Sol was regulated in a different way, and it had been doing very well as a nonprofit, but it completely took off as a for-profit model. So then we went back and we recreated all those nonprofits throughout the whole region and recreated them as for-profits. So then we became an early equity investor in, and then helped to build some of the great microfinance institutions. Fast forward, much later, we had the world's first IPO for a microfinance bank, which was incredibly controversial and also incredibly successful. Yep. And which then allowed us to expand across a dozen countries in Africa, India, China, the Philippines, Myanmar, Indonesia, and more recently, in the last dozen years, fintech. And this is where, let's see if I can. Oh, there we go. Okay. Perfect. So, because this may look a little familiar. So this is what we call our venture lab portfolio. These are all seed level investments in fintech companies trying to create a financially inclusive world. This is the part of Axiom that Vikas really built. So I'm gonna tell you all about it, but it's really his work that I'm bragging about. These are, in my mind, the most innovative companies in the world, all leveraging brand new technologies. And there's a reason we're very focused on seed, because they're the ones who can embrace the newest technologies. Big companies struggle to be innovative. These companies are born to be innovative. You see all over the world where you know, I tease Vikas and the staff. We used to work really, really hard to find these companies. Now they find us because we have an incredible track record of, in the world of seed, about 25% of companies that ever get any seed funding ever make it to Series A. 80% of this portfolio is making it to Series A. So I used to joke that, you know, that means we're either really good at finding these companies, really good at supporting these companies once we find them, or living in a fintech bubble. The answer is a little bit of all three. Right. But there's something happening now that didn't exist, you know, a dozen years ago. I don't know what'll exist a dozen years from now, but these companies are shockingly innovative. And just to give you a little flavor, at the top of the page, Field Intelligence, one of my favorite companies, is a company that's leveraging artificial intelligence to advise small mom and pop pharmacies on what they should put on their shelves. Now think about that, especially during the pandemic. What any pharmacy puts on their shelf is everything. It's like if you don't have the right medicines, people get sick. If you have too much, you end up throwing out expired pharmaceuticals, which means you're throwing out your inventory and you're throwing out your profits. But if you can use AI and predictive analytics to look at trends and say, this is what you should put on your shelf, it means everything on average you can plug into Field and significantly increase your revenues 30, 40%. This is a company that is trying to dramatically simplify the medical supply chain in the continent of Africa. And financial services is embedded within the model to provide the working capital. So that's just like an example of leveraging technology that a small mom and pop store could never do on their own. Just one other example at the bottom of the page, Pula, leveraging global satellite data. I did not know this. You did know this. Others may have known this. In the last few years, global satellite data has gotten extraordinarily high quality and really, really cheap. So Pula is using that data, it's a new source of data, to ensure smallholder farmers. When I talked about 2 billion people being left out of and poorly served by the global financial system, 2/3 of them are smallholder farmers. And they've been really, really hard to reach. But now, using satellite data, we can see when there's a drought, we can see when there's a flood, we can monitor soil conditions, we can provide agronomic advice, we can monitor cloud coverage, and all of a sudden we can ensure smallholder farmers. Not only is that critically important, but also it's growingly important as climate issues become more and more pronounced. I can go through every one of these. You can go through